There I am. I'm live. Hello, guys. Just doing this kind of a live, not the little circle. This kind of live, I thought would be a little bit more where we can relate it a little bit better. People can ask questions, so on and so forth. Not that anybody's here yet, but when somebody shows up, then and there's that somebody. Just thinking that we can do a question and, you ask me some questions, you say a little something or whatever, and I'll read it out loud here, whoever, and yeah. And then we can also, I'll say my thoughts, and then also at the same time, thank you very much for that thumbs up. I need those. Like, I don't remember to ask for them, but I tell you, thumbs up, comment. Just that's why I say even a smile face, even a frown face, something like that would be, at least it goes through as a comment. I think even a negative comment is better than nothing at all. So, yeah, we have to commit to a certain amount of interaction. I do interaction with any show that I go on, and I do a lot of research. So as soon as I'm realizing, hey, I kind of like this dude a bit, I hit that thumbs up. I might say a hello or say my little piece or whatever. I might do it a couple of times. If I really like the thing as he's talking or whatever's going on, I might be going through some other comments and be actually checking how YouTube was originally built for us just to be nice people, and we turned around and became quite ignorant, and I know way more than you guys, and you guys know nothing compared to me. It's my channel. I'm smarter than you. I have a beard. But it doesn't really work that way. We got to earn our thing, and I'm cool with earning my thing. It is, so it's cold and raining. You got that, Claudia. You got it all right. So, good, the rain's not coming down right now, so I can do a little of that, eh? Get some air in here and stuff. Well, it's coming down a little bit, but I'm just kind of making myself a snack here, so I don't want to get it wet. Yeah, so... yeah, mostly where I am right now. So anybody got a questions jumping in here? The Orbs. Orbs close to the big cities. What I'm saying, Claudia, is I'm not an orb supporter. I'm not a UFOer. I'm not a orb guy. I'm strictly a guy on some beings. And these beings lately have been giving me some huge messages. For 3 years I've been on them. 3 years ago, almost, close to, I got my first understanding of glowing eyes. And it has to do with the little deer story. Next day I went back there because I was like, what's really going on? So I went back there and I ended up realizing that I was being tricked a bit. There were deer there, because I was doing my flashlight thing or whatever I had going. I can't remember. Maybe it was just on my camera. But I was getting eye shine from the deer. Then I got to see these other eyes that were giving me the exact same stimulation of color and stuff. And something wasn't adding up. So I decided it was on my road anyway. So I stopped by there the next day, realized where these other eyes were set up. Bigfoot beings. Yeah, I hear you. Thank you very much. I think this is part of what this channel is about, is to really get the information, because we got to get beyond the structures. We got to get beyond footprints. We got to, there's thousands of footprints people have casted, and like thousands, there's probably tens of thousands of those things. And I don't really see anybody give like the real bottom plateau foot discussion. Like, maybe it happens. I just see guys going, hey, look at these shoes or foots, all over the place or whatever type thing. I haven't bothered casting. In my early days, I came across some worthy castables, and I didn't go buy it, and I got no regrets, because to me it's beyond that. I have samples of stuff though, so I can't knock them. I'm not knocking guys who do it. But I'm just saying, I don't get too. I walk right past structures and stuff many times, unless they're overwhelming. There's something about them that's overwhelming. Maybe it's just a good, decent size. But I find the guys out here, I don't think they. Maybe on the North Shore out there in Vancouver area and stuff, they get a fair amount of attention. Those little structures that they start. And so once people are paying the attention, I think that's where it comes from. I think it's more of a thing that they recognize that we get something out of it, a fascination. And part of the reason why we actually do get a fascination is because we do build structures, and it was probably very natural in us to build structures. Look at even tribal people who are 100% still just tribal people. They have structures around to live in, and they're just grass structures, many of them and such. Anyways, so what this kind of tells me is it's more of a stimulation for us than them. The structures probably don't mean much to them. Do they sometimes stay in them? Do they enjoy staying dry at times out of the snow and stuff like that? I don't know. I just did a live a little bit earlier in Mid-South Sasquatch there. He pointed out, he said, Bigfoot like to be wet. And I said, yeah, really give you that impression, don't they? So, you know, open for some discussion, but keep on walking. I don't think it's worth standing there and thinking there's special energy going on out of the structure, stuff like that. Be amazed, enjoy it. Go on beyond that. Like really what people need to do is take my advice, at least just start looking at trees, and you're gonna, if you can at all read them, like get in it really close and look at the bark, take some pictures, look at their wounds, stuff like that. Come back and look at their wounds again, different types of wounds. Pretend they're your kids and see that way. Go past the local gravel yard or something like that. Maybe off to the side of it, they got 3 or 4 great big rocks where they got an old gate that they don't go inside that way anymore, that everybody uses that way. So you kind of think to yourself, okay, that old gate, nobody's going in there. That means nobody touches those rocks. Go over there, hang out around those great big rocks that are keeping trucks from going in and out. Examine them a little bit and come back and examine them again. Come back and you'll probably start to see, because ones that stand out like that, they might just automatically think to a certain degree, everywhere around in this parking lot, everything stands out to us a little bit. So they mark that, and they mark that, and then they mark that. Well, eventually they're going to be marking our rubber tires. They're already starting to mark people's vehicles. I'm going to throw a super banger out there, guys. There would have been a reason, and I do not mean to insult anybody, and I'm not saying anything's right or wrong here, okay? Because this is about the Americans, and I'm not an American, and it's about 911, and I'm not insulting anything, and my heart goes out to all the hurt people from that, and the lost people from all of that stuff. But if there was any reason, if we're thinking there's a conspiracy, that within their own government, there is a reason to take those buildings down, but insurance wouldn't cover it, anything like that. Now think about a reason. That building, how it was built, it's kind of got a steel structure inside, and it's kind of just like it was outlined with concrete on four walls. So it's almost like even a tilt-up kind of structure in a way, and they just built all the steel inside girders and stuff and tied everything, the 4 sides together and stuff like that. And that's part of the reason why that building did fall the way it did fall. It fell legitimately, if you ask me. It fell by the weight of the planes, the fire, and it got to a point where those planes were low enough on the building that there's enough all head weight here that once that inner thing just melted so much because of the heat and stuff, I agree with those engineers, that once it just, the first thing, then all that stuff above it just went poof, straight down like that, and it just didn't need to change that momentum. The building was probably, if you really get into the engineering part of it and think about it, it sounds like a very good design for those type of intercollapsing kind of buildings. So I'm into the concrete big time. That building was concrete on the outside. I would really like to know what, if there is any of existence, what inspection notice were previous that building for the number of years, because you probably maybe could have seen a little bit of a concern maybe with the outside of the building. And if that concern started to come in, then I'd be going, even more so. Because think about it. I say the government and everything is kind of blindsided from going how deep we're going into these guys. And so let's just say my theory is right. And they have these inspectors that are going, hey guys, these 400-story buildings, I don't even know what they were, but these huge buildings something's up with the concrete. It's failing. And this is what everybody tries to call out here in Canada. It's starting to spread around. I heard there was a great big lawsuit going on right here in British Columbia, maybe, but in Canada, I'm pretty sure, where some structure thing, something's failing. They're trying to sue the concrete plant. And the concrete plant's got all their paperwork in order because it's such an engineered and tested product. When it's on job sites, it's the most, that surveying and maybe compaction are our three top things. And we got one of them failing now, concrete. And it's just, the product isn't failing. Somebody's stimulating a fail. So I questioned myself, I wonder if those buildings had a very long thing on it. And then these savage minds out there who can say, yeah, let's go to war to them. Let's push that red, drop that nuke over there. Then we just got to make our decisions. There's mentality still, people out there like that, male and female. And probably none of us are around on these channels. And I just wonder about the towers there with that in particular thing because of the failing of concrete. So they just said, something's going on here. These buildings aren't going to last. Let's just and we got to get around insurance. We got to make it real insurance, whatever those liars do. So really, there we go. 2 thumbs up. Got any questions? Get Ian's. Yes, very good. Sorry for the hoaxes. Really messes with real evidence. Yeah, but I hear you. But hoaxes aren't bad anyways, if you know how to get through them, I guess. Bigfoot. Yes, thank you very much for saying that we need more Bigfooters. I encourage people to try to stick around with my kind of information because it is a little bit different. And what I'm getting out there now is I'm starting to push the buttons on people with orbs, the understanding of orbs, the power of light. Many of these UFO different experiences and stuff like that one with Iranian guys there was just pure light. Think about us with lasers. My understanding with a laser would be, say there's something, we're doing a laser show. We float a balloon up there 500 feet in the air and we're going to pop it. That laser has to be powerful enough to make it to the balloon, and it will continue even beyond the balloon until, and the balloon would have popped and it would have continued on. They would have set it at, let's set it at 550 feet, just in case it's gone farther, whatever type thing. So they have that kind of power set, goes a little bit further. Well, now you think about the true destination of where they're going to be trying to get that laser is to an end point where it builds and has its power point right there, which we can do with steel, but it still wants to go all the way through, but it's just cutting through things, laser cutters, whatever kind of things. I don't think we have this capability yet to shoot it out here into space and have it, okay, it's stopping at 500 feet. That's accurate. Now we're building the power of it out there and stuff like that, and it's still maintaining. Now think about especially with this little Iranian thing that just happened. Of that little, I don't know if you've seen it, but I do a little bit of a chat about it on my channel here, and it so you can look at it there for a minute, and then it gives the details of where you can see the full clip. Anyways, well, there's, and other times I see where people are doing like it's just a shadow. So many times there's not. Oh, jeez. Came by. All right, on. Investing things, good for you to come by. Thanks for stopping in. Came by to say hello, and yes, I am still watching and putting your knowledge to work. Right on with my work. Awesome. And say thank you to Tinman and for what you do. Thank you very much, man. And that is great that you're including some stuff. And any questions, any times, please just shoot them out, and I'll try not to be in grumpy moods, because sometimes a guy can be, right? So I sound a little snarky is why I say that. Anyways. Damn it, eh? I'm not letting it bother me, because if I was letting it bother me, I'd probably go over to the car and smash the window or something. Kidding. Anyways, so we are... What was I saying there then about at the last moment there, if we can pull it up? I was at that... You in the inside truck? Nope. He's out there on the windshield, little spider out on the windshield, stuck in the rain. Just a teeny guy. See what you guys are up to. I was in the middle of talking. Stopped. This horn's been going on for a minute now. Right on. I was just, if I was snooty on a question or something like that, I was kind of trying to prepare you for. But thanks for sticking around with my, for my attitude and stuff like that, and accepting me as just a real guy that's finding a passion in spreading this information. It's really not about my passion. It's not really, because when people say, oh, it's your passion, I go, no, it isn't my passion. I might be passionate a little bit, my style of teaching or something like that, but this is, I guess if it's passion, but it's just something that really needs to be put out there. And in my 3 years, I've learned unbelievable amount of stuff. It truly is. I do not know somebody, and I'm not saying everything is 100% going to be perfect, but I don't know anybody who even talks on the same amount of subjects, or makes, even in their realm of what they do, make near the amount of claims that I make, and so on and so forth. And the couple of times that I get challenged where somebody comes along, I easily start showing them information, and it's up to them to place it heavily or not. Like I just talked to the other day, I was kind of excited on one of my things. I was saying, yeah, me and my boy, or my boys, we're connected really well and stuff. Well, with my 18-year-old, just yesterday, I picked him up from work. He probably, and I remember I could tell he was tired and hungry and all that kind of stuff, so I didn't ride him out at all with any information, yakking or anything like that. I think he almost felt like it was almost a little tense because Dad's not yakking. Anyways, we said our goodbyes. He went in the house and he comes back out after a bit. I called him out again, and when I called him out, then I ended up just kind of cluing in and said, son, when it comes to my stuff, I don't expect you to, in the morning, get up and go, okay, Dad's research is true. He's an honest, good man. And then around halfway through the day, go, okay, Dad's research is true. He's an honest, good man. And then do that again at bedtime or anything. I don't expect you to do that, son. But what I expect you to do is, you've been with me. We've talked about certain things. You've made certain commitments in your mind, in your knowledge. That is the stuff you reflect on. Once in a while, if you're challenged with Dad, you go, but nah, I gave him too many points, man. I can't have that negative bouncing in my head. I've given him points, and we're continuing off of that points. And that's how his pile has been able to get bigger in the knowledge, is because he has the ability to work really well with common sense. He's got a very good natural ability at it. Hey, Paola, how's it going? You're a little late, but you're here now. Awesome. Share right on, Claudia. So yeah, I was so make sure you watch it, or watch the first 20 minutes here, Pamela, just to upgrade. I kind of what I would like to do is, I'd like to have a partner who's sitting here with me, telling me the questions that you guys are saying, me and the partner having conversation. Not all this, just this big weight on my shoulder of keep it flowing there, Tinman, keep it flowing, Ian. You got to get the word out. You got to be jazzy a certain way so people say, yeah, this is cool, and watch this, and you might win a prize, and whatever all that jazz is, But here it's just research. Here it's just a real person that's not trying too much to play into jazzy stuff, but I play my mood a bit and stuff. As soon as I turn this off, I'll just go, and I'll be just feeling all that, just like you do after a hard day. Whatever. We all have our thing, and we all wear it, and we all carry it, and it's all that I'm talking about. But you happen to be in my job right now. So you gotta listen to it. Just like your boss. I want a raise because of this. Yeah. There, the horn stop. It always works out. Better to be yourself, and it's not as hard, It's all part of it. Yeah, be yourself. It's all part of that honesty thing, isn't it? You can't get unless you're a child-built liar sort of thing, or whatever those ones are that just everything comes out and they're a liar and they just have no inkling of anything when it comes to lies. I would, just to be an occasional liar, or lie a few times a day and stuff, I wouldn't know how to chase that, to cover up for it all the time. Let's put it that way. So it really is much easier to exclude lying from your table of contents. I'm thinking that little spider out here might have drowned. Oh no, he's still moving. Climb on my finger, buddy. Don't want to squish him, but he's not willing to get on my finger. Oh, he jumped on my finger, I think. Oh, there he is. Let's see if you guys can see him. You see him there? See, that's what you do, is you save a life. Oh. Yeah. He can live on my mirror there. They'll find warmth back in there. How many times I thought about this the other day? Worms alone. I probably picked up, 25, 50 worms. I would have to say a good 50 worms or so in my time. The pavements they're just in a bad spot. I've even done slugs one or two times. But slugs are kind of a different story. Got me a little pet. That's right. He'll stay in my mirror there. Maybe I'll get to see him grow up. Yeah, so really start to think about the lights are owned. Really start to think, when you look at those orbs, and you've seen some orb shows, go look at them and see the shape. Take note of the shape. See if that shape at all relates with others that are going to be coming, that have already happened. Colors, don't be fooled by colors. In other words, don't, oh no, I see red and blue in that. It's going to be a helicopter or something like that. Don't be fooled by that. Go further into the thinking. Think more about the noise. Think, well, you're close and filming and noise, light, my zooming. I've a number of those I've come across with other people, and I haven't been able to give credibility to a UFO. Because a UFO, let's be real, when we really talk about UFOs, we're really talking about something from outer space. We're not talking about an unidentified drone. Like one time, I was in Vancouver there, and I've talked about it before. I got to see this white ball of light go for, and I was with two friends. We were hanging out in their back patio area, right off the East Hastings area, just up there, off of 12th in Vancouver there, if you're familiar, off of the highway. And I would say maybe a couple of 1,000 feet I got to see this thing just float along like this. And it was just exactly like that. It was up, 100, 200 feet or whatever type thing. And you could just make it out that it was a perfect ball. Kind of like, and it had, I almost felt like it, but this is too hard of just recalling. But I almost felt like it had a little bit of hue in it too. Awesome. Thank you so much, Pamela. God bless. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you very much. You warm my heart. So that was an experience that I had. And me and they're going, what the? Like, there's absolutely no noise. It was a nice, quiet time. It was just perfect for us just to be. This was before what I'm doing here. So this is about 4 or 5 years back, I would say. Maybe 7 years back. Anyways, I related a lot with what went on in that video with the Iranians shooting at a mast that was kind of similar. It was so in control. That smooth line. Like, to me, it was, and I come from carpentry and stuff like that, and, I can still hone in pretty good on on a number of different aspects. So there's cool thing doing this. And so I want to give you a couple of experiences that I've had then recently. I was saying the night before the storm, I got an experience with some light stuff. And I really felt that light was projecting from down below, hitting clouds. It was not going up to where there would be no clouds. So it was only in these kind of couple of sections above the tree masses and in the clouds. And I was tripped out for it, but I was really thinking, because it wasn't a storm night. It wasn't even full cloud night either. And then the next, is that a chicken? I can't see it. Anyways, then the next night, so storm night, that was the night before. Now let's hop us all the way forward to not last night, but the night before last night, I got another one. And I'd say probably about, I can't remember, but I think probably like 3 times of these certain flashes going on. To me, I don't have to grab my book much. Like, I've only written in my book, I'm not a third of the way into my book yet. Looks like about a third or something. I don't have everything down on video. It's all coming to you. I don't have to worry about being perfect. People who can connect with some of my research and get, well, this guy's into something, he's real, then they have to decide that they want to believe my words and memories. So anyways, and I don't try to falsify a memory if I'm having a tough time pulling it out of the file. And it's generally just pulling them forward a bit. But anyways, so 2 nights ago, I got a little bit of a shock. Now let's go back to now again. The I keep referring to the storm night because that I have a video on. And you can go on there and you can watch the lighting. And you can try to do it real slow and see if it looks like lighting comes from below, or if all lighting's coming from above. Is it generating in clouds sometimes, not in sometimes? Is it maybe more than one kind of lightning going on? Have your fun, make a video on it. Anyways, so now we're back to the storm night before I got that little bit of a light show where there was a good 6 things going on. I was really into it that night, kind of just wow, because I was kind of getting the message. And that message helped me connect with 2 nights in a row, just a few days prior the storm night. 2 nights in a row, I was hanging out in such a way where I was doing a fair amount of stargazing. One thing about this place is there's a number of spots where it's just kind of some rolly hills and stuff. So you know how it is when you're coming on certain rolly hills and you're towards the backcountry and stuff. You get to see a good vision. I get to see the North Star constantly. The Big Dipper only goes out of my view because of probably mostly the trees and a little mountain. Other than that, then I'd be able to probably see the Big Dipper do a lot of its full roundabout. Anyways, so shooting stars. So the first night I seen this shooting star and I was like, what the frick did I just see? Like, maybe this to that in a difference. Maybe even more drastic. That I seen this shooting star that I can't even pull it back in exactly how it went because it confused me. It lasted, I would say, for a second. Maybe it hit over a second. It pretty much, you know how a shooting star, they are always, I think, very similar when we're talking about a practical, normal shooting star. It does its thing where I think we call this stardust because we see it fading as it's shooting, and then maybe we get to see this even start to burn out before, and then maybe some brightness there or something, I'm not sure, but you get to see some particles, you get to see some understanding that helps us clarify that it really does seem like it's something maybe heated in space shooting. Okay, this thing didn't do that for me. This thing almost gave me an idea, here we go, idea that you have an artboard thing that erases almost not as fast as you're stroking, but as fast as you get to the end of your stroke, then it almost like it seemed like solid, more solid. It seemed like I could almost give girth to it in a way, but a width girth, like almost like it gave prominence, almost like it was not up there, almost like it was down lower, all those things. And I truly seen that first that day. Then the next day I got to see another one, and then that's when I got to go, freaking, I think it is these freaking guys, because the first one just threw out a bunch of confusion. The second one is a stamp in the concrete. A third one will be you get knocked to the ground with reality. But the second one was, because this is part of what happens, is if they are wanting to show you a show, and lots of people will know this, some days you get them on, some days you get them off. But the ones who want to give you a show, lots of times will give you a show. And so I'm going, You know, in that in particular mind, I might have been thinking about the other one. I don't think I was. I think I was just looking, you know. I stand out there and I'll just stand looking this way for a long time, and I do a lot of peripheral watches. I do watches for if they're trying to tweak lights over here, their control of the glow over here, over there. I kid you not, man, where I sit there and people see my camp a little bit, I can be out there at night, which I am every night until I decide to, you know, crash out or whatever. And when I'm out there, I swear, when I'm looking around and I'm getting all the lights different, because the main lights are just our white lights, an amber light, and oddly red lights. The odd green one, if I'm looking towards an area, and that's part of what has to happen. If you have houses back here, and you just know you have some dense trees right here, go and hang out on this side of the dense trees. Measure the lights as they're starting to come in. Walk over here and look at the lights. Walk back and act like you're just hanging out and stuff, and measure the lights without going, okay, there's one over there. Norm, write one down at northeast, 7 feet off of, don't do that stuff. Use more of your practical sense, and they'll start giving you a show. And you might start thinking that, well, houses are all over there. People are flicking lights on and off. You might start thinking, where's the street light? I don't see a green, I should be seeing a green light down there. There's no street light that way. You can and will get those things, and they're increasing. Okay, let's go into a little bit of this. Pamela, hi, Claudia Smith. Okay, so interesting things is telling Pamela something. And then Tinman for you've been around here for 2 years or so. That's, I think you're saying. And then Pamela is saying, interesting things. My hubby and I are talking about moving there when he retires. Cool, and where's there? Are we all going down there? Granddaughter in Nova Scotia, maybe you're talking about, eh? Oh, okay, I missed a few things here. Oh, I guess I see. Okay, here, I caught back up now. Nova Scotia, that would be a great spot. What I talk about, I truly believe I have, you start to notice cultural difference if you go to different communities with these guys, and like a farther community. I've gone hundreds of miles apart. So you get to see these little cultural twists. Like one in particular community that I haven't been for a while, but they're actually only up our river here. And they might not have the nickname anymore, but their nickname was Hand Grab Clan. And the reason is because they would walk around, play, do whatever they were doing, and it was in this horse area and so on and so forth. And any other messes and stuff, it was kind of a loosey, sandy kind of dirt bedding, a lot of it. So they would grab up a hand grab like that, throw it down on a footpad or whatever. I even went around, I think, and was able to, kind of lift up and realize that, okay, this has been dropped here. This is more of a shape like this. Because, our hand grab and their hand grab is very similar. It's just that there was a difference, and I think it was, I'm going to go with size that I'm remembering. But that, you might even, it'd be the Hand Grab Clan. There might be a little bit of a playlist on them there too, so you could always see with that. But, so there's a cultural difference in a way, obviously. And, yeah, from country to country, so on and so forth, but there's things that bring them together 100%. They work with trees. I know the language is going to be so similar in their techniques here as there anywhere. And then when it gets into the cutting technique of the cut with the beveled cut within the cut, that one just will blow that one there, because that's my one of a key proud finding of this cut has a bevel in it, you guys. It's going to tie something together. And yeah, it rings so true still. So true. So, yeah, I'm basically saying, I'm not a big traveler because I have an injury. So I don't even know how much I could travel. But I tell you right now, I kid you not, if I had the drop in my, miracles of miracles where I could fly anywhere in the world, maybe I'd pick something like Australia or something. But because their history of animal history is huge, I have huge respect. Probably one of my biggest guys of any time was Crocodile Hunter. And yeah, I've told some stories where back when because I'm a little bit younger than him. So before him and his woman were even married, they put out a little series there of videos, and it was on satellite TV. So my brother would record it, and I'd go out to his place in Vancouver, and we'd even pause the videos, just 8 tracks. Not is that what we or not 8 track, but I mean because VHS. And yeah, and that was about, is this guy full of it? And how much is he acting into it and stuff? And even his things where he would redo a crazy thing was maybe because he fell too much. So he wanted to redo the crazy thing. It wasn't on the level of all these guys. Okay, I'll just jump right here. That's only 2 feet. But you film me from over there. It looks like I'm jumping like 12 feet. He was not that character at all. And I'm going to say I probably pounded in a lot of information from him. And yeah, my dad's a lot of hope for how I am too. My dad used to be one of those guys that he knew what I was like or whatever on a Saturday or whatever. He'd come and what were those different shows, like the African one, where they even set up the fighting of animals and all that different stuff, right? With that white guy, that old guy and stuff. I remember, and I'd sit there with my dad, and I remember talking lots and all that kind of crap, right? And then I've myself have owned many different animals too. I've had lizards, all kinds of lizards, snakes, and then I had a hobby farm where I really got to get into all the hoofed animals and chickens and a lot of care of things, a lot of love out there, and kind of living life in a way that I know it's different. And there's a place where I got verbally confronted by a Bigfoot where he's growling and snapping twigs and stuff. It's in my playlist, and I think it starts like that, verbal Bigfoot, verbal attack, maybe something like that. I cut it down to just a 2-minute piece or something. But anyways, that happened actually about probably a 15-minute walk back down the dike, or going with the river, and then just over a set of railroad tracks, 1 farm property, 2 farm property. That was my driveway. I wasn't living there then, but me and my family used to come out that driveway. We would even come with one of our sheep, because once her name was Princess, I think, and once she got so far from the rest of the farm, she wouldn't look to stay at the farm, she would just look to stay with you. That's a cool thing about sheep. They just walk with the herd. So you don't want to get too many, just have 1 or something or whatever. Anyway, so we'd go to the dike, walk the dike, and we would only walk certain parts because that's the only trails then. Bring the clock forward to that night. Why I went there is because there were some campgrounds there. The day before, I realized that these Bigfoot things had been putting trails in behind the campground that I had walked dozens and dozens of times with my family. Even went down to the pond there that's there in that area where it's been frozen over a couple of the years, and my kids would play on the pond and so on and so forth. And here I come a couple of years later after that, and there's a bunch of trails. I'm going, this adds to all my information that I've been learning over the last, I think then was 6 weeks. Next night I come out there, I'm doing a night walk, pitch black, get a verbal confrontation from one of these guys. I stand there for probably 1 minute and 40. Like it starts, I'm on this side of the dike, I walk across this side of the dike, so I come like 12 feet closer to the guy. So you can imagine what's going through his mind. He's going, what the? I said, or whatever. And I'm going, what's the deal, man? That's not, it doesn't make sense to me. And that's the best way to approach anything, man, is you just be honest. And if he's not fair, you tell him he's not fair. You want him to go away, you just tell him, I want you to go away. That's the advice I give my children. Anyway, so I talked to this guy, and he would not give up on his part of the argument of snapping and some huffs and growls and stuff, so I turned and walked out of there. Only seconds away, I don't know, 10, 20, 30 seconds away, I'm stopping again, kind of throwing out some more words or whatever, because at the same time you're going, you're not following me, are you? So, legitimate stuff. Now we're getting into glowing. We're getting into these eyes that may be just pretend orbs, and they're floating around. And I can pick up my son, and I can hold his feet like this, and I can go like that. Keep the eye. Keep it going. Don't play games, I told you. A man over there, look at him. He's taking pictures again. You know, I don't think it's to that characteristic. I'm being foolish. But holding a little guy and totem poling and getting someone up there, way up there, where you think he's way back there, because you go like your land goes like that or whatever, and you're like, no, he might even be on the other ridge on the other side, and maybe he's able to penetrate his eye, that source of lighting closer. Like, where is this going? Like, what's the depths of what we're talking about? But we are talking about a power that many people have seen here. And we're just not willing to go, it might be the orbs. It might be. If it isn't all the orbs, they are mimicking the orbs. How, you know how I know that? It's because they don't ever give in to orbs like me. Like Mid-South Sasquatch said earlier live. He said he hasn't seen any orbs, and it's because he just gets eye shining or eye glow, is what he's getting. They'll fake eye shine. You go like this with your light, and even have some fun like that, and just go like this to a thick area. And you might get one of them going, what the frig is that guy doing? Does he think he's going to pick up me? Okay, I'm going to trip him out. And they'll start tripping, start freaking you out. Be careful if you want to be this crazy. Consult your doctor first, but pretend you're attracted to it. Go with your fear and go, neat, I'm going to come closer to that. And then go closer to it. See how he reacts. See if he just goes back from you, that light. Why is that light backwards now? Back further. Go a little further. And realize that's how people get pulled away into the forest. And then once they're so far into the forest and they're lost, maybe that's when the noises decide to be half scary and half still inviting. Sounds warm over here. Yep, baby talking. Oh, I think I hear people. Maybe I'm getting tired, but I think I hear people over that way. Maybe I should go that way. Meanwhile, with a guy, oh fuck, what's attacking me, man? God, please, man, I don't understand what's going on. And you fall off of a cliff and die. Different stories, different things. Yeah, ultrasound or infrared sound. You know, I have a severe hearing issue. And that infrared sound that you're talking about is something that I got to shoe in somehow because of my hearing injuries, I believe. I believe there's lots of times they're trying to trip out my ears, and there's also times where they are trying to trip out my ears, and I ignore them. Not to say every time, though, because, like, say if they're doing it with barking, I can't pretend that I'm deaf if he's just 10 feet away from me and he's doing a very loud bark. I can't, like the coyotes there the other night. I can't sit there going, so I have to right away go, even though that one, the real loud one on the long video, Excuse me, or where he starts a minute or so into the video. That one there scared the crap out of me because he was close, man. And I just, oh. But anyways, lots of stuff's going on, and I know this video is going to come to an end. I thought it goes off at 45 minutes, so it must be an hour-long connection. So I'm going to try to run through some of these comments and see what's up. Well, my family is from there. Iowa. Okay, let's go. And we got, true, Ian, I never thought about the concrete, but it's cool to know. Right on. Australia is a place I would like to go to. Yes, they have, they have a lot of knowledge and history and averageness. Is that what you're saying? Averageness would be cool too. Aboriginals? Or are you trying to say that? Aboriginals? Maybe. Like the Aboriginal people there, they're just so fascinating to me. They look like they should be almost the first where we recognize people coming from, but I guess we recognize people coming into Australia or something, and that's ends up being them. And they, well, Kingdom, there we go, awesome. And that's what they end up, so I might end up just going dead at 50 or 55 minutes or an hour. I'm not too sure, but we'll see. Thanks so much for the support, guys. Lots of thumbs up there and people coming and going, and that's all expected, and thank you and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, so those people have the stories of the beings that were mountain shapers and valley diggers. So, and it kind of just exactly said, you mentioned concrete, they first scribe a line in the concrete. Next thing you know, that scribing starts to go crater-ish, like it's a valley, starts to be like a crack, like it's going to go all the way through. Then they start making different veins off of it. Next thing you know, they'll just start taking chunks away, whether the chunks are tiny chunks, big chunks, because they can use an excuse for a truck bumps it or whatever, and then pieces are just gone. And look around for the pieces. Half the time the pieces are taken away or whatever, and maybe you even find them over by the ditch over there, and you can tell they've been breaking away at them and stuff, and they're just working. They really are just working, and we just have to figure out not why. You know why. We're knowing why right now. They're just working. They're just ants. Ants would stumble across certain advantages that would be out of characteristic that they would take advantage of. These guys maybe are doing a certain thing. So in other words, they sweet talk some dogs to get lost, and a person's on the under end of the leash. All they're doing is playing their silly games. They're not necessarily thinking, let's scam this person. But they're going to obviously realize that person's coming to our will of our noise or whatever type thing like that. And see, these are all the things that we have to know. Like our grandchildren will have to know how to deal with them, how to get them to stop if we can still have a certain amount. Guys, I've been out there where I get going on or whatever, and I've stuck up my hand and I go, done stuff like that. Like straight up just whoosh, like my dad would be doing to me if he was wanting me to stop making some noise or something, and fed into it. And like too many times to say I know that I've had such interactions where I've gotten them to actually kind of almost respect me in a way, or where it isn't just like the coyote one where he's just making tons of noise. But even in that, when you're conversating back and forth a couple of times, you almost feel like, not that is he understanding, but is he playing the game? Have a good night too, whoever's leaving. Mindy, have a good night. Mindy took off. Thanks a lot, everybody. Awesome things. I'm not trying to come back live.